What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Maverick here, ready for episode 15 of Dr. Stone. So, I'm really looking forward to this one. Well, sorry, I kind of lied. I'm not really looking forward to this episode, but I'm looking forward to getting to the end of this episode. Because, if my predictions are correct, then this episode will mainly deal with the aftermath of the tournament arc, as well as the various things that's going to lead up to one big reveal at the very end. And if they're doing this right, if they're hyping this anime right, they will probably leave the big reveal as the cliffhanger at the very end of the episode. And like I've been saying from episode 1 up to now, right? Like, you guys have seen nothing yet so far. If from episode 1 to 15, we've basically been on cruise control. After we get to the reveal and after we explain the reveal is when things are going to go whoop right into overdrive, right? So I'm really hoping that they're going to speed up through some of the less interesting, well, I can't really say less interesting parts because it's still integral part of the story, but I mean, you guys know me, right? And I always want to get to the actual fun and interesting parts of the anime, especially in terms of Dr. Stone, where, you're just gonna be mind blown by the creativity and the way that they use the technology here in the future and to solve different and various problems, right? But anyways, I'm talking a little bit too much. Let's just get into the episode. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. After you've captured the village. Oh yeah, there's also the entire aftermath of Chrome as well. Ginro. Now this is why I didn't really do much to compliment Ginro a few episodes back when he saved everyone. Because Ginro is just Ginro. That's all I have to say about him. That's true. Go Senku! Go Senku! Oh, I just remembered. They actually forgot to, or I guess maybe not forget. They just decided not to do it. Hold on a second. Well, as I was saying, they actually didn't animate the part where Chrome was explaining to the ref how he's not cheating in any way, and he defeated Magma fair and square. Yeah, he's kind of conscious right now. Yay! How many of you guys guessed that? Yeah, it was kind of obvious if you actually already think about it, but anyways, let me skip the opening real fast. I'll see you guys in a second. The culmination of 2 million years. Yeah, it's your own rules. Yeah, they need to hurry now. It was absolutely as funny as I saw it in the manga as well. Wait, you forgot Chrome. Watermill. Yeah, they were supposed to actually bring Chrome back a bit earlier. This is getting really deep into the chemistry stuff. And of course, all to save Ruri. In one night as well, let me add. But of course, with 12 minutes, well, 10 minutes left. Not that easy. Yeah, I'm lost here. Like, you guys can go look that up if you want. Out of all the science subjects, chemistry has always been my worst. I'm impressed by the voice actor. Half a year. Of course, no drug is truly cure-all, right? The sulfur drug was sort of like a precursor to antibiotics, penicillin. Ah, don't worry, Senku isn't that. No, he keeps his word. Of course, the actual formula is a closely kept secret. Ah. Of course, you probably shouldn't be feeding patients medicine without actually knowing what their ailment is, right? Tuberculosis. Of course, things aren't going to be that easy. Pneumonia. You know, this is something that I actually really appreciated within the manga, and that is how they skipped the, the part and just directly went into when Ruri was actually cured. Because I seriously thought when I was first reading this the first time that they were going to go on a wild goose chase again to try to sort of hunt down the actual disease and fight through misunderstandings and whatnot. Ishigami Village. Ishigami Senku. Mind blown. Finally, 15 episodes later, we are at this point. Take a good look at the ending, guys, because we're gonna get into the specifics of this ending right in the next episode. I'll see you guys in a second. So there we have it. 15 episodes later, we are finally done with the tournament arc, and this is where the fun begins, right? Now, I'm not kidding when I say that my enjoyment of this series probably skyrocketed at least 50% ever since the tournament arc ended when I was reading the manga, right? Like, if you already like this, as of right now, you're gonna love it so much more once we get into the next episode where it talks about, the actual origins of the village and whatnot, and as I mentioned, what the ending, what the depictions during the ending song actually mean, right? It's just gonna go up from here, trust me on this. There's a good reason why this is one of my favorite mangas to come out in recent years, right? So, anyways, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil anything. Just continue watching on, and we can talk about it once we get to the next episode, right? And indeed, they did follow the sort of format and pacing that I was anticipating. Dropping off this bombshell at the very end of this episode generates hype for the next episode, where we really start to learn about the backstory, right? So, good on them. So, let's talk a little bit about the episode itself, right? In particular, let's talk about Ruri's condition, situation here. So, within the context of this episode, Senku mentioned that there's two possibilities, right? Tuberculosis and pneumonia. And he probably pretty much diagnosed this by hearing Ruri cough all the time, as well as coughing up blood. So he knows that this is some sort of infection of the lungs, right? Well, he can't know for certain, but that's a pretty good guess, right? And these two are quite similar in that they're both infection of the lungs, and relatively unknown nowadays within the modern world, especially with the advance of sanitary conditions as well as vaccines, right? There are vaccinations for these sort of things, so that is why we don't hear about it as much nowadays, although it was a big problem in the past, even till the turn of the century, I believe, during the turn of the 19th century, 20th century, so up to the 1900s and whatnot. And there is an important distinction between these two, as Senku mentioned. If it was actually tuberculosis, then the sulfur drugs that he was making, the antibiotics, would have very, very limited use, right? Because it's pneumonia, he can further treat it with the antibiotics, and it would be an effective treatment, since biotics specialize in killing bacteria. Now, with that being said, however, there are still some holes in this right here, and that is, even if it did turn out to be pneumonia, you still can't really know for certain if this is going to be a bacterial or a viral, or even an infection caused by fungi, right? So it's still a sort of guess in the dark here as to whether or not continuing to giving treatment through sulfur drugs would help her condition, but at the very least it's not going to worsen it, right? Yeah, I don't. Of course, there are some adverse conditions to eating antibiotics, but it's not going to literally kill her, right? At the most, it's not going to cure her. So it was still a gamble, but in the grand scheme of things, that's fine, right? Honestly, I feel like the mangaka did a good job of actually skipping through this entire part. I mentioned this a little bit within the episode as well, and that is, I was actually really grateful that they completely skipped over the part where they continue to try and make Ruri's condition better, right? We literally time skipped till when she was fully healed, and I'm sure some people might want to expand a little bit more on that, especially in terms of the medical knowledge or whatnot of Senku, and maybe learn some things along the way. But honestly, I feel like this is probably the better way to do things, right? And that is to just skip through it, because you're never going to be able to really fully explain a lot of the things. I mean, as ridiculous as the series already is, I always felt that the chemistry parts were the weak points of it, especially because when you consider a lot of the things that you're doing with chemistry, you're doing on a molecular level, right? And without the with the absence of microscopes and other kinds of advanced tools and equipment, you really can't do it all that well, right? If you're going something that's physics based, right, or electromagnetic based or something like that, I could see that, right? That's something that's it works with stuff that you can just see directly, right? But chemistry stuff, a little bit more iffy on that part. And I don't know, it might be just be my bias, because chemistry is actually one of my weak points, but I always felt that within Dr. Stone, it's much more fun when they concentrate on other stuff besides chemistry. Right, you can concentrate on biological stuff, you can concentrate on physics and whatnot, but just not the chemistry part, right? So yeah. So anyways, that was just a quick note on Ruri's condition here, but obviously she's healed now, and Senku has become the village chief. He's taken full control of their village, and so now we can really continue on with our story, right? And I mean, man, next episode we're going to be looking at the backstory of the village, of Ishigami Village, and you guys are in for a treat. Let me tell you that. When I was reading through the actual backstory within the manga, I was, kind of blown away actually as to the scale of things that was being told. I don't know. I guess some people might come out of it being unimpressed, but personally, I loved it so much that the author actually had the balls to expand the story to really, really big scales, and having a coherent a coherent plot throughout the entire thing, all the way up to this episode, or in that case, in the case where I was reading a manga, that specific chapter, I just felt, hey, this mangaka actually knows what he's doing, right? So he's actually doing something that's, he's not making it, well, sorry, he might be making it up as he goes, right? But at the very least, I felt that the entire situation was resolved in a pretty creative fashion, and one where, you literally are thinking, oh, what's going to be next, right? Is there some other even more exciting connections and whatnot, and so on and so forth, and, well, up to now, we still don't really know, right? I'm still following the manga. We're still relatively early into the story, I would say, in terms of actually finding out what happened to Earth, what happened to everyone, why was everyone petrified. But the next episode, in regards to the backstory of the village, is when I really started to think, okay, I'm actually reading something that's really, really, really good. Right. So, okay, I should probably stop being a hype person anymore. Anyways, that was my review of episode 15 of Dr. Stone. Super looking forward to the next episode, and I hope you guys are as well. So, this is Maverick signing off. Bye-bye.